Listen, I've never had any problem expressing my opinions, but what we're doing here is bigger than that. These are conversations that need to be had in an unfiltered way. Drag racing's all I've ever done. It's all I care to do. I respect the history, I appreciate how far we've come, but I want more for this sport, and I'll fight for it. It's uncut, it's unfiltered. This is the show of shows. The biggest names in drag racing. No holds barred. This is the great American motorsport. Drag racing. Prove me wrong. I'll wait. Hey gang, Wes Buck here, Drag Illustrated Magazine, checking in. It is Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. A couple of weeks into the new year, and the race season is already rocking and rolling. Of course, we're headed into the second stop of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series presented by J&A Service. Of course, I'm talking about the U.S. Street Nationals presented by M&M Transmission going on next weekend at the legendary Bradenton Motorsports Park. We're excited here in about 30 minutes. We're going to be joined by Bradenton Motorsports Park's own Victor Alvarez to dive into all things Winter Series and all the exciting stuff we've got coming up, as well as the kickoff of the Radial Outlaw Racing Series points series in 2026. So we're excited to have those guys join the fray in 2026 as we get this party started. Guys, we've got a lot of ground to cover, lots of news in the space, some new drivers, some surprise news that Brian Loans actually tipped us off on last week. I'm excited to talk about that. So let me bring my boys in here. JT, Mike, what's going on, fellas? What's good? You guys are both kind of bundled up. Is it cold? Or?
It's cold.
Cold here.
It
is cold.
Chilly
and
in
I
DFW.
had to rock the U.S. Street hoodie, man.
Yeah, man.
It's got to be on brand for whatever event we got coming up.
Got my Dixon, Alex Laughlin flannel.
Oh, yeah. Those things are sweet.
Yeah, like I'm looking to buy some more.
Yeah, he hooked me up, and man, it's cool to see drag racers have relationships with brands like that, isn't it? Like, I just think it's cool. Like, Dixon's a really prominent brand, and to see them have like a collaboration at that level.
The button says name.
I know. Yeah. It's nuts, man. Crazy. AL40, 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 AL40.
Look.
Yeah, you got a little. I'm
gangsta.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you look like you should be in a gang.
Yeah. What's the most Sons of Anarchy? Yeah. What was
I got a gun close. I mean,
what was the rival gang in Sons of Anarchy?
Monarchs or
no, the Mongols.
No, there was another one. Yeah, maybe that was one of them.
That was a spinoff one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it might have been.
Yeah, you look like, I mean, JT, you're kind of a chameleon. You're kind of a chameleon. I saw you were ready for a trip to Qatar last week and didn't get your invite.
Man, how sad that was. You know,
the Mayans. There we go. Kevin Stevens. This guy's like a walking.
The Mayans.
Yes, the Mayans.
We used to call him walking encyclopedia. Now we call him just Chat GPT.
Yeah, no joke, man.
You know, I sent Ray a picture, like sitting at my desk, and it's like, man, my invite must got lost. It's okay. I wasn't like preparing for it or ready, or really didn't want to go at all.
You're ready, dude. You can fit in most of these other countries.
When we were there, they kept wanting me to translate. Remember that?
Yeah,
like
I remember
when I was there. They were like, "You're clearly lost."
No, I don't translate.
Yeah, Mike and I, we looked out of place.
Me especially.
Yeah,
Mike's all pale and tall, and they look at him, blonde hair, and you're like, holy shit,
I miss my stop in Norway or wherever. They brought me here. Yeah. I was supposed to be landing in Sweden, and now I'm in Riyadh. Dude, I hear a lot about Riyadh now, like with Trump, and he's doing a bunch of stuff, and you just
UFC
it's like,
is sponsored by Riyadh season.
Before we went, I had to Google where it was and what it was. Like, I'd never heard of it before, and now you hear about it all the time.
That prince that met with Trump and committed to spending all that money, that's the prince that me and Erica went and talked to see if they wanted to buy those cars.
Yeah, we were just trying to sell him a 20 car collection.
I know. I got my phone out. I'm like, look at these cars. Look at these cars. And Eric is standing there, and they have the handler come up and get us, because I called Richard and said, hey, that Prince or whatever's over in this building, we'll go fucking selling those fucking cars, JT. We're not there. And I'm like, shit.
Now you got the pressure on you.
Yeah.
We were busy downtown Riyadh trying to find car dealerships to try to sell cars to. Yeah. Man, what a deal.
I'm a great salesman because they bought 0.
Yeah, no joke.
Just remember
what a deal that was.
In fairness, nobody bought anything.
That's true.
So, I mean, I think out of like the 300 some odd vehicles that were shipped from around the country over to Saudi Arabia, one of them sold.
I wouldn't buy them either after I got beat to shit all the way over there.
No joke. I was thinking the same thing. Like they got all
Brothers Mustang came out looking like a crunched up beer can after the straps came off and just beat it in the container the whole way over.
I got to tell you, man, they handled that better than most. I mean, the fact that they had it on display, kind of owning it, was really hilarious. I mean, I felt horrible for them, obviously, but I'm sure it was insured to the moon and back. So it probably worked out just fine for those guys. Guys, we got a lot of ground to cover here today, especially with Vic joining us in a little bit. So let's just dive into some headlines if you want. I mean, it just seems like, I think one of the greatest stories of 2026 already. I mean, we're 2 weeks in, but how about Jim Halsey preparing for a return to the U.S. Street Nationals? We saw Jim involved in this super unfortunate incident alongside Jeff Rudolph Friday night at the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals presented by Motion Raceworks. Jim's car made a big move to the center line. Jeff got out of shape down toward the big end, down toward the finish line. They got into each other, or it looked like they got into each other, trying to avoid the carnage that was unfolding in front of him. Jim Halsey got into the wall. We were all, I really honestly felt, here's a guy who's never had any crashes that I can really remember. I mean, this is a guy that is known for not crashing. Jim Halsey, that is. And then just a couple of really, really bad ones back to back. I was really genuinely curious. Mike, did you have any, I thought this might be the end. Like, we may not see Jim Halsey back.
I did, man. Mm-hmm. I really did. Really because of what you're saying. Like, 2 in a row. He missed all of last Winter Series. After going to the final round in World Series 2024, then he comes back. He's unable to compete at all in last year's Winter Series. Then he comes back out with this brand new car that's, all hyped and we're excited to see him back. And then to see that happen, man, it's devastating. But you and I talked with him, and we started to get word right away that it wasn't nearly as bad as what they had thought. And I think it's like as each day or week went on, the news got better and better and better. And we obviously we did the wrap on the car originally, and then one of the beauties of a wrap, we're able to quickly repair that, and there's no matching, no really. I mean, 1 day is all it took to repair this thing. We actually just got it back to him yesterday, so they're finishing up at Brandon Schweitzer's now.
You do wraps?
Yeah, I do. A vinyl wrap, not like a lyrical
not
wrap.
Bars.
I can do that if you need me to, though. But anyway, and I even asked them, like, what all did they're like, we're not even really 100% sure exactly where the damage stopped as far as like the front clip or whatever. And I don't even think it was the entire front clip. So like it really, from what I understand, was kind of just from the front wheels forward. I think he had the car really slowed down by the time it hit the wall, and it kind of just nosed into it, did a lot of cosmetic damage. And it was very minimal from that standpoint. So really cool story to see him coming back out.
He was so upset when it happened, rightfully so. And I'm sure the thought crossed his mind several times, there in the days following. But once it cools off and you get back at it.
And drag racing is such a part, like the way Jim Halsey races with his wife, is best of buddies. He's so close with Eric Davis. He's so close with Brandon Schweitzer, Brian Chan, all those guys. Like, they do this. It's in their DNA. And I don't know, like, what would life even look like for those guys if they didn't have, you know what I mean? If they weren't fighting this battle, and they choose to go about it in like one of the most difficult ways possible. And I think that's part of, like, it's just who they are. But
look at the potential of it too. And I mean, he only got 2 runs, really 1.5 runs in competition, and ran a 360 and was in the top 10 for most of the weekend until like the final qualifying session. So I think that that's a big part of it too, is that they see the potential in this car and want to go out there and prove what they're able to do. And what nitrous cars, when they're, run like these guys run this car, what they're capable of doing in these all out, all combinations thrown together type of events. So it's something that from our perspective, it's hard to judge what these nitrous cars are capable of without him out there sort of, being the bearer, the torch bearer at this point. So it's hard for us from a rule perspective, from all these things to gauge what these things are capable of without him out there. So from that perspective alone, I'm excited that he's coming back.
And he said in his story that Craig Cook published on dragillustrated.com that it was on, he thinks it just was driving left on him, but he said he felt like it was going to run a 57 or a 58, which would have put him number 1, 2 at the time, at least, and to me, like, holy moly. I mean, you just can't really, like, again, it's really hard to downplay the performance potential of these nitrous cars. I mean, we got Haney coming back down to the U.S. Street Nationals. I mean, there's some guys that are committed to making this deal happen, and I'm excited to see, where
Haney's new car is over at Brandon's as well, over at Brandon Schweitzer's getting finished up. So is he going to have that at U.S. Street? Is that the plan? That
I
they have the new Corvette?
But I think they're going to do some testing and kind of see how the new car, how that is,
I didn't ask questions. When you walk in Schweitzer Dynamics, man, they make you like put on glasses with blinders on the sides and lead you into a dark room and then clear out and then turn the lights on. I'm just kidding.
The stories Alan Reinhart would tell about going to KB Racing, right?
It is like the Pro Mod version of KB Racing. It's impressive, all the stuff they've got going on in there. When you go in, you're just like, all right, what am I here to do? And don't ask, don't touch, don't look anywhere else. You do that and get out, because that is the Area 51 of nitrous and Pro Mod racing.
It's crazy, man. I mean, we see him in the comments right now, the one and only Spencer Hyde, your NHRA Rookie of the Year, behind the wheel of Jim Head's Nitro Funny Car, coming back to Pro Mod, filling in for Ken Cartuccio, who is taking a couple of steps back from the sport for the time being. I'm fired up about this. It was a heartbreaking development earlier or late last year, whenever we found out that it wasn't looking likely that we were going to have Spencer at all the races, possibly at one of them, but it wasn't, it was kind of up in the air. And then this opportunity presents itself, and to have one of the guys that really helped us take this thing to the next level, Spencer, just a great ambassador for our sport and a great ambassador for Pro Mod. I'm glad we didn't lose him entirely to the dark side. I'm genuinely excited that he'll be back. What do you guys make of, because it feels like, I saw an article on competitionplus.com earlier in this week with Lyle Barnett kind of expressing his desire to eventually get into the nitro ranks. Like, I've argued a lot that I feel Pro Mod is quickly becoming, if not already, the hottest thing in drag racing. But there's no denying the allure of going and racing in 300-mile-per-hour cars that make 12,000 horsepower on the NHRA, the grand stage that is the National Hot Rod Association. So it's if we can serve as something as if there's an organic growth opportunity for people to go from what we do and what is happening in the PDRA and the Midwest Drag Racing Series and so on and so forth, and see them, carry kind of fly our flag into that space, I'm cool with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like you said, now we've got Spencer kind of has reached that pinnacle, and now we want him back in Pro Mod, right? Like, I don't like to see these guys leave fully. And I think I kind of was like assuming that Spencer was going to be a part of at least the winter series. I know maybe not run a full series during the middle of the year, but to find out that he wasn't planning to was kind of a shot in the heart. So to have him back, I think is great. And if anybody's going to replace Ken Q, I think Spencer would be at the top of our list.
Absolutely.
I agree. I was thinking about how those are big shoes to fill. It really is. Ken has, and this isn't anything that happened relatively recently. I think just the world became more aware of Ken Cartuccio in recent years, especially after last year's Winter Series and just the absolutely dominating performance that he had there and the great job he did driving the car. We talk about the Elite Motorsports Million. Here was a guy that I really think was in contention to win all 3 races last season. So to see him step away is definitely a bummer, but I'm excited to see. They couldn't, if you were going to put someone else in that car, really off the top of my head, I don't know that isn't already in a car. I don't know who you could get that would be better.
If he wins this, it's going to get wild. I mean, he may have to call off the wedding.
Oh yeah.
You know,
or at least postpone it. I don't know about call it off, but
when's the wedding?
February 13th.
He just fitting it right in here, you know, just got
slide it right in between there.
Schedule that around the races and everything. Do you think it's easier, like coming back from, you know, going to Funny Car and then coming back to Pro Mod? I mean, does that make it a little bit easier driving once you've drove one of them monsters for the whole season?
I don't know, probably not, because they're like, those Funny Cars are their own thing. I
would say that it's the things are slowed down. I bet. I wonder if he'll.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but it requires such fun. Like these cars, these Pro Mods really, I feel like it's like a balance between aggression and finesse. Like you can quickly overdrive these things. Those Funny Cars, man, you have to if you're not overdriving the shit out of them, you're behind it. So it's probably a tough deal. Two totally different feelings and skill sets, he says. So it's definitely it'll be interesting, but I'm excited that he's coming back and squeezing us in between weddings and things. So man, talking about a busy guy, like just busy overall.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing that I think about, and I had this conversation last week with Melanie Salemi, and who I also feel strongly is due for a show up and show out moment at one of these three races. I mean, we've seen her and that whole team, Jim Salemi, like the Resolution Racing Services group, Evan, can't leave Evan out. That whole crew, they've done well at these big money outlaw races in the past, and it just hasn't come together for them in Bradenton recently, but I think they're due. And I was talking to her about the advantage that she thinks, you know, at times that she has and some of these other drivers have that just race a lot. You know what I mean? Like seeing the tree a lot, being in those moments a lot, going through that routine a lot. I have to believe that Spencer Hyde's going to come into this thing with a lot of just momentum and poise from what he went through last year and considerable success, all things considered. I mean, a debut season in Nitro Funny Car. I mean, it's not often that you see guys going rounds and qualifying well, winning the Mission Foods, Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge. I mean, he really did incredibly well. I can't imagine that just all those laps aren't going to serve him well when he's in the pressure cooker that is race 2 of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series, man.
I think that you just got to have experience at these events. I think that adds up a lot. I mean, we're starting to see some people there's a lot of people that raced at Bradenton prior to the Winter Series, did the Snowbirds, did US Street, but like Jason Harris, I think is a great example. He was, I mean, he probably would tell you he was overwhelmed the first time he raced World Series or whatever, and now he's getting used to it. Like he knows how to prepare, what it's going to be like, and now you start to see that pay off in his performance. So I think that you almost got to get one of these under your belt before you can start to really reach your potential and get used to how different this is than maybe your typical race in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. And before we bring on our first guest of the day, let me take a quick moment and remind you guys that each and every episode of the Wes Buck Show is made possible by way of our friends at Stroud Safety. Stroud Safety is known for their top quality racing safety equipment, from drag chutes and seatbelts to fire suits and blankets, all 100% made in America. Log on to StroudSafety.com today and make sure you tell them we sent you. Guys, the man of the hour is in the green room right now. We got a lot to discuss with this young man, so let's not postpone any longer. Ladies and gentlemen, Vic Alvarez. What's up, buddy? Bradenton
What's going on, man?
What's happening?
I appreciate you saying young man, because I've been feeling old.
You are.
You guys been
Hey, when you hang out with us, when you hang out with us, man, you are young.
We've been working on this damn Pro Mod since the Snowbirds.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. So, like, take us through that. I mean, for those that don't know or haven't been following along, it was huge news last year when you announced that you were building a Pro Mod. The rendering started to circulate the internet. People were excited. Purple twin turbo 69 Camaro. You're known as an import guy, a sport compact guy. I mean, that's when I first, kind of heard about you. Obviously, you own a business in that space, Induction Performance, that specializes in Supras specifically, I believe, and, turbocharging those cars. So it felt pretty natural for you to show up with a twin turbo Pro Mod, right?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, honestly.
I was just getting to that. You have considerable success in your debut outing, qualify for the toughest field in the history of Pro Mod at the time. And then it seemed to get hard. And so to fast forward, you have made the, I have to imagine, a very difficult decision to switch from twin turbos to a centrifugal supercharger. You partnered with the guys, Dustin, Roger, and the gang at Hart's Charger to strap one of those bad boys to the front of the hot rod, stick a set of zoomies on it. So to just take us through the thought process a little bit, and then we'll go through the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, so I mean, I was always a huge fan of Pro Modified, and when I started to like learn about Pro Modified and be around it, there were no turbo cars at all. Like there wasn't one. And it kind of bothered me, to be honest. So when Mark came out with his car, before his car even ran, there was a lot of naysayers like, oh, turbos don't work in Pro Mod. It sucks. It's going to be this, it's going to be that, whatever. So anyways, as soon as I started to see Mark have success with it, I was like, okay, I can have a Pro Mod, because the only way that I know to have a Pro Mod, it would have to have twin turbos on it. So Mark let me make a pass in his car, which I still can't believe he let me do that.
That was crazy. I remember that.
That was super
I just
crazy.
forgot about it until this moment. I'm like, oh yeah.
I forgot about it until the other day. It popped up in my Facebook memories because he jokingly was like, yeah, bring your suit like 10 times. And then one day I just brought my suit and I was like, hey, so I brought my suit. He's like, yeah, get in. We'll make a run. But anyways, so he let me make that run. And I like pretty much almost immediately following that ordered a car. And I loved it. And honestly, like I'm really sad to go away from the turbos, but to run at the level that we need to run with, the Winter Series, the competition that exists there, the turbocharger can run the numbers, but it's very difficult to be consistent. And I don't have the passes and the data and the testing that these guys have under their belt. Like, you look at Jimmy Taylor, you look at Mark Mickey, those guys have probably thousands of runs on both of their cars. And I've probably got 60 total. So I just quickly realized that I can't compete on the level that I want to with the turbos. And it would be easier, which I hate to say that, but it would be easier to make a shot at it with the centrifugal charger. So we literally, before we left the Snowbirds, we had the Hart's Charger in the trailer. And literally since then, we've been working on it. And we're going to fire it up today. And we're going to try to sneak over to BMP and test it on Friday and Saturday.
It's exciting, man.
It was crazy. You're like, at the end of the race, I wasn't really paying much attention, and you were like, "That thing's gonna have a Hart's Charger on it for the next race," and I'm like, "Oh,
yeah."
he's just mad right now.
No, I saw what I needed to see, man. It's that level of consistency and the performance is hard to beat, and it's either for me, I'm just a boosted guy, so it was either a centrifugal charger or a screw charger, and the centrifugal made more sense. I have a good relationship with the Hart's guys. My car is better suited for that. It'd be easier to swap over. And even then, like, it doesn't seem like it's not enough time because it's, it's a little over, it's like a month and a half. But with holidays and everything, like, it's been hard to get it done.
But you're not the only one, too. And I don't know if I'm maybe breaking news or is supposed to say this, but okay, I won't get myself in trouble. But you're not the only one that's making this switch right now, and we're going to see a couple other cars that have made this.
Wes Buck Show. We need some breaking news, man.
All right.
Screw it.
So Chris Thorne has made this same switch. We know about Jay Cox. He already has made this switch and made it public. So there's a handful of guys out there that are moving the same direction. But from our standpoint, we want all combinations to be competitive. I'm a fan of the turbo combination. I think it's badass. I love it. Wes the same way.
I'm gonna miss it.
And so, do you think? I mean, we're not seeing the end of turbo in Pro Mod, are we? Like,
no,
or is it just this ebb and flow that we see right now? And it's just the Hart's Charger obviously performed well at Snowbirds and is running well and everything. Things ebb and flow. I mean, this is not going to be a permanent thing.
The difficulty of the turbo is that when it runs well, it runs so well. Right. And what comes from that is weight. So now it's honestly just gotten to a point where they're so heavy that it's hard to like make them consistent. It's hard to get the turbo car, to short track even close to what these other combinations short track, just because the nature of the turbocharger and how it comes on and how it spools and so on. But I don't know. We may even have to revisit it. I think the best thing for the turbocharger would be to have even smaller turbos than we already have and run at a lighter weight. But that's going to be a drastic change, and that's something that
it's going to work. It's going to take work.
We've talked about it. We've
Sanctioning
talked
bodies
about
will
that.
have to come together. Yeah, but like I almost feel
no
like
one
we need
seems
less
to really
power
wanna
and
do
less
it.
weight.
No one
it's going to be one of those things. Nobody wants to do it, but it's going to eventually have to happen. But once it does, I think that's the best chance for turbos to compete.
I agree, but it seems like turbo, like going bracket racing right here, he's asking in an absolutely unlimited fashion, can any power adder outrun a twin turbo? And it seems like the twin turbos, like if you talk to these guys, you talk to Mark Mickey, you talk to Jimmy Taylor, and you talk about putting smaller turbos on it, that doesn't sit well with they want that power and they look at themselves more as wanting to go after those unlimited records or whatever. But I do agree with you that if we're going to run 4 rounds of qualifying, 5 rounds of eliminations, for that thing to be consistent, it's gotta the power, the ultimate power maximum has to come down, because at its maximum it's literally, I mean, in another stratosphere insane from these other.
It's like it's like pretty much unlimited horsepower at this point,
right?
But in the turbo technology improves so rapidly, right?
God.
I mean,
to think about the turbo technology, even from when Mark Mickey came out with his car to now, which was like 2 or 3 years, we've gone from a 98 millimeter turbo to an 88 millimeter turbo at almost the same weight, and these guys are running the same times and the same mile an hour. Because every time that we take some turbo away from them, they figure out a way to make the turbo better, which is great. And it's awesome that the turbo has that ability to like be messed with and redesigned and worked and all that, but it makes it almost impossible to put a good set of rules on it, in my opinion. And I just don't have the time. But like you guys were saying right before I came on the show, these races are really difficult to run. And I don't think that you can really grasp that from like the live stream or what you see at home. We can have a Snowbird Outlaw Nationals where it's like literally different conditions every single round. And when I say different, I mean like drastically different, from the temperature, track temperature, the DA, and the turbo is like the hardest thing to tune to begin with. And when you have to have a completely different tune-up every single time you go up there, it's damn near impossible. It's an educated guess, but it's very difficult. Where it just seems like the centrifugal chargers and even the nitrous car, like, Halsey, he freaking runs good no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, you make a interesting point, because we've just seen this thing ebb and flow. Like, I remember there was a point in time where I routinely said on this very program that if you were going to build a Pro Mod, you would build a twin turbo Hemi deal with a 400, and like that Troy Coughlin was winning damn near every race under the sun. Jose, there's been so many guys run well with that combination, and it became like a de facto pro line package. Like, hey, we can put you in one of these things. We're going to be able to make you competitive right off the bat. Boost, then NHRA introduces a boost restriction, a boost controller. Then it's different turbo sizes, and the boost limit goes from 40 something, I think, down to 31 pounds of boost at one point in time. And obviously that was an NHRA competition. And then you saw everybody just mass exodus. It was overnight. We saw none of those cars competing. Then on the heels of Mark Mickey kind of reinvigorating that combination, we started to see him come back. But I do think that it really is just, you've got to be able to either test and race a lot, and or have some sort of rocket scientist that's with you that can help manage that power. Because everybody that has one of these turbo cars, we've seen them fly at various points in time. They've gone somewhere and had a moonshot run. And we saw, I feel like back at the Yellow Bullet Nationals, I was really impressed with the amount of back-to-back-to-back great runs that Jimmy Taylor and Carl Stevens Jr. made. But you saw it bite them finally in the final. Finally, it was just too much. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I know I've talked to Jimmy several times here recently, and they are confident, feeling good, and excited to come down there and see how they fare. But it's definitely a different beast down there, especially when you get the number of cars that we have. I'm actually kind of excited that we're going to pull back on that a little bit over the course of the next, couple of races and have, because it is a big challenge. I mean, where you're at in the run order can make or break you in some regards. You know what I mean? Especially if there's any. This is the
hardest race to race as far as like a pro mod race goes, in my opinion. These are the most challenging ones to do, just because, again, there's so many different variables and they change so much. And we had at the Snowbirds, I remember we had one round of qualifying where we started the round and the conditions were just like mediocre. It was like it was like afternoon, but it was hot. And then I think we had an oil down.
Yeah.
Yep. And it took us like 40 minutes to get back on track. But those 40 minutes made it that the cars that were in the back of the pack got this amazing nighttime, like absolute perfect conditions, where if you were in the front of that, like you didn't have the same opportunity that the guys in the back did. And like, there's no way you can't fix that. There's nothing you could do. So it's like, you've got to be lucky. You've got to be good. You've got everything has to line up and work out for you. Like this is really hard, really hard. And I love it. And I think that's what makes this what it is because the guys like me that love the competition and love how difficult it is put on such a good show because we really, really, really want to earn it.
I couldn't agree more, man. I think that is, I remember a few months ago, we had Mike Galimi here on the podcast and we were talking about like, what is the secret sauce to Hot Rod Drag Week? And it's like long-term sustainability and just this rabid fan base that it has and rabid participant base. And the first thing that he said was how hard it is and how much of a challenge it is. Like that is, we were talking earlier about, racing being a part of Jim Halsey's DNA. Well, I think there's an entire world of racers, specifically in the pro modified community, that wouldn't have it any other way. They're here for a dogfight. They want to earn it. They want the challenge. They want the difficulty because we all know there's opportunities to go race in much lesser competitive places, right? I mean, there are places where you don't have to contend with so many cars. There's places where you don't have to contend with so many rounds of racing. And if
you sign up to go to a race where there's going to be 75 people competing just to get into a 32 car field, I mean, the odds are against you. Like you're rolling up like, man, there's a high probability that I could not get in. And you could make one bad run and just fall behind a little bit. And then you're behind every other run. And then you kind of have to like just take a shot at it and try to get in. Luck could be against you. You can be in a bad part of the run order a couple of times. Like it's hard, but we all sign up to do it and we all want to conquer that beast. So it's amazing. When I think about it, even for myself, like I almost feel like sometimes I have no business doing it, but I want to do it so bad because if I can prove myself and everybody else wrong that I can do it and I can qualify and I can, go some rounds or win, that's the greatest win that for me, if I won one of these, that would be the greatest win that I would ever have probably in my drag racing career.
It was staggering last week hearing Jason Harris start to get emotional talking about winning the Snowbirds. And here is a guy who's a multi-time champion, won multiple races in a row. I mean, he won 4 in a row in Pro Nitrous. I think he won 3 in a row in Pro Boost. I mean, he's a legit world beater. Jason Harris is one of the best there is. And to hear him talk about how he had never experienced anything like winning the Snowbirds, the first race of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series, like that, to me, that's the juice. Like that's what you want, is you want a place where a guy that's that accomplished still feels like that's the ultimate line on his resume. And yeah, I really feel qualifying for those races puts you in an elite category where everywhere you go from there on out, you are identified as a threat to win wherever you go.
And when you look at the people, then some of the names that didn't qualify, it's like these guys are like these are no slouches. These guys qualify every race.
Sometimes it hurts to look at that list, to look at the list of from Snowbirds and see the caliber of cars and teams and drivers that we sent home. It was absolutely unbelievable. But again, that just goes to, how difficult this is. And we're going to, we do for lack of a better term, second chance shootout at World Series of Pro Mod. Everyone's already asking, are we doing that at Snowbirds? Are we doing that at US Street? And we reserve that just for World Series of Pro Mod, just because it's the crown jewel of the three. But it really does get difficult, and you start to think of ways like, man, you know, how can we soften this blow for these teams that we're sending home? But at the same time, that you know, deadens the reward of the teams that did qualify. Yeah. So again, creating that heartbreak and that feeling, that's kind of what it's all about.
If it didn't suck so bad to lose this race and to not qualify, it wouldn't be what it is so special to win it. And I've always said that when you go to some of these races and like, oh man, you know, I just didn't it wasn't my outing, whatever. It doesn't sting as bad. But when it really, like, when it hurts, when it makes you work on your car through Christmas, through New Year's, and like thrash and do all these things, like what it does, like how it checks your ego and the stage that it has created that you just want to qualify and hopefully win, man, that's the magic. And like, I've seen some comments about the $1 million thing. I don't think people understand how difficult it will be. If it happens, he deserves the
yeah, I mean,
no doubt. He deserves $2 million if it happens. Man.
Yeah,
I mean,
seriously.
it's insane.
We may be lowballing him on the $1 million if it happens.
I definitely think that it's worth every bit of that. I mean, and you would have earned every single penny, because that is Herculean happening. I'm seeing I've had multiple people, you know, reach out to me like, hey man, what about a 64 car field at World Series? And I'm like, to me, like in theory, it sounds good, but I think
cool. That's about it.
But I think the reality of trying to run 6 rounds of eliminations, the reality of, because these things ebb and flow, right? Like I remember
we went down this road.
I experienced it. Yeah, Mike and I experienced this with the World Series in 2017, where, you know, we had a killer field of, I think, 18 cars that we invited to Bandimere Speedway for the inaugural World Series of Pro Mod, $100,000 on the line. And after the event was over and we had a great crowd and everybody's raving about it, my phone's melting down. I want to come. And I made I'm not going to say fatal mistake, but it was a significant mistake of growing too fast, where it's like, all right, next year, 32 car field. And we barely filled it, couldn't quite fill it actually. And then the very next year we fell off. You know, it's hard, you know what I mean? So like, I don't like taking steps backwards. So I don't, but I also don't
I think it goes back to what we were just talking about though. If it's a 64 car, because the thing about it is, what people fail to realize is with the chip draw, just getting in, you can win.
Yes.
Like 1000%. If you qualify for one of these races, you can win. From that point forward, it's anybody's race to win. So when you do that, you kind of take away from what we were just talking about. You're making the opportunity too easy to win, and it's not as special now when you win. That's how I feel about it, at least. But I might be overly competitive because I'm the kind of person, like, I have so much like pride, even like, I think if I didn't qualify and you guys, oh, we're doing a second chance race, I think I'd be so like prideful and like kind of like upset. I'd put my car in the trailer and I wouldn't even race it.
We have guys that do. I mean, the second chance deal at World Series is optional, and we have guys that feel that exact same way. And they're like, I'm not here to run a second chance race. I'm here to win this race. And we have that. And then we have guys that literally make the decision whether they're coming or not based on if we're having a second chance race or not. Yeah. Because everybody,
and those are guys that just like racing
a little bit different. Right.
Yeah, they just like making laps. And I wish I was more like that sometimes. But I think that what makes these races so special is literally how hard it is to lose. Like the feeling of losing one of these races is what makes these races so special.
Yeah, and I think
can you imagine doing a 64? Can you imagine doing a 64 person chip draw and doing a 32 pair first round of eliminations?
And
Gavin's head would explode.
But car 64 could win at that point. You know what I mean? And now you're taking it from, again, let's say 75 cars show up and only 32 are going to compete. So we're taking less than half the cars that show up. So you're showing up and you know that there's a 40% chance of you even qualifying for this race. If you show up and you just know that you're going to get this 9th place ribbon and get into the race, it just loses its like I don't know. It's just not cool.
It loses its luster, man. I mean, and
Yeah,
I
it's not cool.
It's we don't ever want to toe into participation trophy area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's a distinct possibility. I think the juice from this deal comes from the competition level. I saw someone in the comments earlier just talk about how a 360 run is now like somewhat run of the mill. I mean, that's been birthed on the back of this series, and I don't think people would have it any other way. I mean, I think for me, the goal is to continue, because whenever people roll by that winner's circle and they see Jason Harris smashing beers together and getting hosed down with champagne and fireworks, like that's what they want. And I think that moment is so attractive, and it is burnt into the minds of so many racers. Spencer Hyde covered in $100 bills, Steve King on top of the car, like all these iconic drag racing moments that have happened in the winner's circle there at Bradenton Motorsports Park. People want to be a part of that. And I think as long as the prize and the pomp and circumstance and the press and everything that comes from winning that race remains what it is. Because Lone said it here last week on the show that he's like, the money is cool. And of course, everybody likes to talk about money. $1 million for the Elite Motorsports, the Elite Motorsports million, or, 75,000 win or 150,000 win. Like that's all well and good. But, you could speak from personal experience in the moment right now. Yeah. Kai Kelly winning the Snowbirds in a No Prep Kings car. If you look at that, 150 grand, I mean, as proud as we are to give it, we know that it's barely making a dent in what these guys are spending.
And honestly, it's very quickly not become about the money at all. I think the money definitely helped grow like the Snowbirds, for example, and it got it to that point. But it's so crazy how I think literally after the first race, it's not even about the money anymore. It's about, wow, this is that big, this is that prestigious to win, that they're willing to pay you 50,000 or 75,000 or 150,000. I think that's what it's really about. But it's also like, I've seen people make this mistake. They'll do a race and they'll do like free entry, and they do free entry and everybody and their cousin are building a race car and they're coming. And then the day of the race, because they're not like truly committed to it and they don't have any skin in the game, not even half of those people show up. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, you got to be there. You have to be a part of it. It has to be special. It has to be a big deal, whether you win or you lose. The worse it is to lose and the bigger it is to win, the better it'll be.
Agreed. And I think that that's some of the magic that we have. And I feel like I have to remind people this a lot. But I'm sometimes surprised like how quickly how early in this process we are being compared to these sanctions and series that have been around for a decade or 20 years or whatever. But it's like, hey, we're still very much in the infancy of this. I mean, like the Snowbirds has obviously been around forever. US Street's well over a decade, almost 20 years.
I think US Street, we're coming up to 25.
Yeah,
right?
25 years. But this 3-race program, having these, 3 races together, bundled together, like we're still growing and evolving. And I think there's a lot of room to grow. I mean, I really do. I mean, I think that there's TV opportunities. I think there's so many more opportunities, sports gambling opportunities. I mean, I think there are so many opportunities to continue to level this thing up that we're very early in the process. And I want people to feel invested. I want people to feel like they have contributed to what is undoubtedly one of the things that's driving the bus in the sport of drag racing right now. I mean, I'm happy to report that the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals presented by Motion Raceworks was the most viewed drag racing content in the history of flow racing.
That's incredible.
I mean, that's incredible to me. And
that's what we want to be a part of. That's the same, back to what we're talking about. That is what we are signing up for. And that is why, being that many people are at home watching, that's why it sucks when you go out there 4 times and can't make a good pass to qualify. Ask me how I know. But if I'm telling you, if I was not so upset to not qualify that race, then Jason Harris wouldn't be so happy to win it.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's polarizing on both ends. But it's awesome. I mean, Jason said last week too that each one continues to build on the other. He said like this Snowbirds felt like as bigger than last year's World Series, and then US Street's going to build on Snowbirds. World Series builds on US Street.
Yeah, the pressure of the Snowbirds, it literally felt like World Series, which is insane to say because I'm not even – what's going to happen by the time we get there? And and if he wins the U.S. Street Nationals, it'll be off the charts, because then at that point, I mean, he's got a huge target on his back.
Yeah, we want to have that happen, because it's the story that we'll be able to tell with that will be insane. But talking about US Street next week, what like unique challenges does this event pose? Because the weather can be you never know what you're going to get there.
This is the most difficult of the 3 races that we do. Yeah. You have a ton of cars, so the car count's really high, which is very difficult to deal with, in the sense that there's zero margin for error. Like if you have a couple, God forbid you have a couple wrecks or a couple really bad oil downs, this race almost has to go.
Let's talk about that car count too.
Like, to go.
I mean, we're expecting what, 400 plus cars for this event?
I'm hoping that we're going to be like 360, 370.
Okay, so approaching 400, which is like 50% more than Snowbirds. I mean, Snowbird was a huge event, but I don't think people realize, just from a car count perspective, because of the Radio Outlaw series primarily, that
and
just the sheer number of cars.
And then we got to go from radio prep to slick prep every couple of rounds, back and forth. So from a track prep standpoint, a race management standpoint, this is the most difficult one to do. But the reason that we even attempt this and that we are able to do this is because we invite the best racers in the world. And the Radio Outlaws deal attracts some of the best racers in the radio world.
Agreed.
Without that, there's no shot. You can't do it. But it's one of those things. It's like, you want these races to grow, right? Like I remember my first Snowbirds, I've talked about it on here with you guys. I had 15 Pro Mods and I didn't sleep for like a month. I was heartbroken. And I wanted it to be how big it is, as big as it is now. And it's not always, sunshine and roses. Sometimes it's difficult. But everybody that's coming to this deal, again, the best of the best. Everyone that works this deal, the best of the best, from our tech team to our track prep staff. The race director, Gavin's, in my opinion, one of the best to ever do it. So we can get it done, but it is not easy. And it definitely presents challenges. And those challenges kind of like roll over to the racer a little bit too, because there may be, with the weather, with US Street, sometimes you can have, springtime on Friday and, winter on Saturday. Yeah. So with the weather and with the going back and forth from radial to slick, it's challenging for the tuners. It's challenging for the drivers. It's challenging for everyone. But again, it's what makes this win, that that a couple people are going to win this race and they're going to tell people, man, this was really hard. And that's going to make it that much more special.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. I mean, this is a big bite. The U.S. Street Nationals represents a significant challenge on a multitude of fronts. But I do think we've tried to get ahead of some of this. I think we've done a good job with some of changes we've made to our parking layout, changes we've made to the schedule, tightening up some of the Pro Mod runs to try to create a little bit more consistency in conditions. I think we've made some necessary changes. And
the changes we've made are, I've thought about it a lot. The best changes that we possibly could have made, and absolutely necessary. And again, something that I think we should all pride ourselves on is that every race, and sometimes even during the race, we are so hyper focused on the race being good. And when I say being good, I'm not talking about like, how many people are there necessarily. I'm talking about finishing the race and giving these drivers and these teams the best conditions that we can possibly provide at that moment. So we make so many changes and we pay attention to so many details between the 3 of us here and Josh and Gavin and Wade. We are nonstop tweaking things behind the scenes to give you guys the absolute best race that we possibly can give you and to finish the race, right? We've had some races that were last year, US Street, man, a lot of people bet against us even finishing the race, and we finished it in spectacular fashion. So these things are difficult, but I think, I hope, and I know that a lot of these guys, they invest in us and the passion that we have for what we do. And that's why they make the trip that they make, and they come from so far, and they invest the time and the money to come race with us, because they know like those guys are going to do whatever they can do to get this done and to get us the best race that it could be.
Yes. And that is, I think they all know that, very well said, because that is, I think they see that. And I know that I had racers come up to me and say, this is the best race I've ever been to. And I'm like, really? Because I know we can do so much better. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
I know-
it's like being in the foxhole, right? You don't realize it, and then the time's flying by, and you're just kind of doing your job, and then you don't know. You know, it's hard to tell until you start getting that feedback or the event's over. Like,
And that
how
was
it really
literally
went.
that was US Street last year.
Yeah.
On Thursday, we were a bunch of schmucks doing a race, and we shouldn't have even been doing it. And on Saturday, people were like, dude, I don't know how, but you guys pulled this off, and it was awesome. Like, it was great. You guys got it done. The track was good. Like, it was great. But it's hard, you know, where sometimes we're texting each other at 5:30 in the morning, like, guys, the weather's looking like this, or guys, what are we going to do today? We have this many cars, or we're an hour behind. And that's
what tough decision are you going to make? Who are you going to risk of pissing off? Who are you going to, upset? And it's like being willing to make those decisions in the name of the
make some hard ones,
the event. I
mean,
sure. You make some really, really, really hard ones. And but I'm genuinely fired up about it, man. It feels like this thing has so much momentum right now. In a really wild world right now in drag racing. I mean, there's so much stuff going on that I'm proud that we're able to kind of be the focal point of the off season here. You know what I'm saying? And we have this 3-month stretch where this all eyes turn to BMP. All eyes turn to the Winter Series, and we got some surprises coming. I'm hoping to be able to announce it later today with some drivers that are going to be behind the wheel of Pro Mods this coming week that I think is going to raise some eyebrows. It's 100% headed in the right direction, and I don't know that there's any end in sight to what this thing could ultimately become.
I'm also excited to see the start of the radial season because US Street has always been. And it's crazy because it's the first race, but usually like the fastest passes are made at US Street for a while at least, and it sets the tone for the season. These guys have been making changes. Rules have changed in most of their classes. So I'm excited to see how that gets kicked off and see how that goes.
Myself as well. I think Eric Diller, Donald Long, Bud, Debbie, O'Rourke, everybody that's involved with the Radial Outlaw series have really, I think that radial racing was screaming for a traveling point series like that for years and years and years. And they finally delivered one. And in all honesty, man, I think it has surprised people. It's staying power. I really do. I mean, I think the fact that, I can't tell you how many racers I talk to that build their schedule around Radial Outlaws. That's what they're focused on. And Jimmy Dale's in the comments right now. They're planning to go compete for a championship in limited drag radial and chase that Radial Outlaws title. So
I also want to see that. I want to see Jimmy Dale in an LDR car. That's going to be sick.
It really is. I'm excited for him, man. We were talking yesterday, and I know they're planning on hopefully at the end of this week, maybe doing a couple of burnouts and a couple of 60 foots. He's got to get his license, but this is a big jump for him, man. He's been in fast cars, but like this is like a really, really, really fast car, screw blower car. And I think he's going to really perform well. I think this is going to be a yet another coming out moment or coming out party for Jimmy Dale. He's done a great
job.
He's
had a couple coming out parties. Yeah,
he has, but I think that this is going to be another one. And I'm hoping that this sets him on my goal all along has been to see Jimmy Dale racing a Pro Mod car, and I think that is not a stretch at this point in time. So hopefully in the relatively near future, we'll be seeing that come together.
He's linked up with the right guy to get it done too, because that team's got a lot of cars. Rob does not mess around.
No, it means business, man. I think he's going to be, and that's good for the Radial Outlaw series, right? Because I feel like bringing in some new blood, bringing in some fresh faces, and some guys that have followings and are willing to talk some smack on the internet and let it all hang out. Like he's apt to pour some fuel on that fire that maybe it's needed for the last few years.
Every class can benefit from that. We saw that with Little Gangsters. We saw it with True 10-5. Kevin Stevenson is here asking about True 10-5 and what a splash that class made. And then now we're going to be turning the clocks on for US Street. Let everybody see the performance that some of these cars are capable of. I think with the performance that we see from these cars, and you got names like Ryan Martin competing in them. Just to name one right off the top.
Taylor, Kai Kelly,
Taylor,
Brandon Sandlin. There's so many. The Prescott brother. There's so many. And these guys, they get
Larson.
These guys get down, man. These are fast cars. Manny Bajinga, Corey Reed. And it's been interesting. And I think that there's a couple of things that I'd like to touch on with you guys while I have you is first and foremost, this is another conversation that Poland or Jimmy Dale and I were having, just talking about the polarizing nature of this clocks on versus clocks off thing. And, I can certainly see both sides of it. I'd love to get your guys' collective opinions, but for me, I feel like this is in service of the fans. I really feel like I totally can make the case for keeping the clocks off because I do think it's kind of, and I don't say this disparagingly, but it's something to hide behind. It's not being aired out to the whole world, whether you're running up front or you're 0.3 off the pace, right? I think that I've seen series on the West Coast and various other places that have really bolstered participation simply by turning off the scoreboards. I mean, it gives you a little bit of cover, right? Where it's not being aired out for the world to see exactly how you're faring. The fans know whether you won or lost. That's all that really gets, played on social media. So I understand it. And I've had racers tell me that they think this is going to hurt participation. People are going to realize how fast these cars are, and they're going to start to fall off. And where Jimmy Dale and I landed was like, I mean, it's similar to what we're talking about with Pro Mod. If you're a happy to be here type racer, this might not be for you, and that's okay. Like, It doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you not a great guy or whatever, but this is for the baddest dudes and dudettes on the planet. This is not for the faint of heart. This is not for the, just going to give it a shot. I mean, this is the toughest racing that exists. And I think that secondarily, but perhaps most importantly, the fans want to know. I mean, we have spent 100 years training our fans to look at the scoreboards, right? And we've been trying to teach them and show them what is fast, and to do something of this level with these caliber of characters and not provide those nuggets of information, especially when the hardcores know, you know what I mean? And the people with their ear to the ground know, and these time slips leak on social media and they leak out in WhatsApp and all these different places.
Yeah. When they started to leak out, that's kind of the death of it anyway, right? I mean, it takes everybody kind of working together to keep that no time mystique going. But how much dude, when we first started doing this, the clocks off deal for testing at Bandamere at the first World Series, it was like a revolt almost. I mean, people were losing their minds. And then we've continued that, and then we continue it with testing. And if you watch NC Pro Modders feed from testing before it goes over to flow for the actual event, every question is, what are they running? When are they turning the clocks on? He's got to explain it 100 times. I mean, for our purposes, and we have a good reason why we do that, and it's all good there. But you have to fight this uphill battle with like the mainstream audience, which I think as we bring in classes like Low Gangsters, as we bring in True 10-5, and as we again present drag racing to the largest audience that's ever been on Flow Racing, you're going to get a lot more casual fans. And when they start to watch it and tune in and go like, what's going on here? What are these cars running or whatever? I think it's a hook for casual fans. And I think that it takes a lot of understanding and explanation to understand why there's some of these classes might run with the clocks off. So I think for what we're doing on our platform now, what Corey Stamper's doing and what a lot of these other places are doing, it may be a better fit there, but I think for what we're doing, that it's the right decision.
I think, well, I'm going to make it short because I could do a whole nother show just on the whole no time thing. I think that for the long-term good of the class, and if we really want to see this class stick around and be something big, you have to turn the boards on. There are more fans that don't truly understand what's happening when the boards are off than there are fans that do understand when the boards are off what's happening. And I think that there's a ton of people that they love to hide behind the boards being off, and they feel like it gives them a competitive edge, and they might talk a little extra smack to you, and oh, you don't know how fast my car is, whatever. But in the end, these cars are all so close together, and they're still, even if you have like a guy like Ryan Martin going 390s and you have a guy next to him going 4.0, these racers, they don't care. They believe that they can beat Ryan Martin. You know what I mean? They don't, and Ryan Martin can't go 390s every pass. So I don't think it makes a huge difference. I think that no time racing has changed so much in the last 10 years that it used to be the board stayed off because these guys grudge raced and they raced each other for a lot of money. Grudge racing is all but dead. I go to events sometimes and there are more class racers grudge racing than there are grudge racers grudge racing. So like these no time shootouts that, you know, people jump in because they have a car that, I mean, I'm sorry to say this, is built to run Ultra Street, but it can't compete in Ultra Street. So they go run the no time class that's, you know, small blocks or whatever the case. Great. And I'm happy that those people have a place to race. And we're going to still have events that, you know, cater to those folks. But again, this is for the dudes and dudettes who think they're the baddest in the world. And they don't give a shit if the board is lit or if it's off. They're going to go up there and leave it all out on the table. And for the fans, this is such a huge upgrade for them to truly understand and truly appreciate how fast these cars are.
I think that that's one of the things that, and we can kind of transition this conversation because, you know, it's interesting how infrequently it would seem that drag racing, like us as a community, put the fans first. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we're always serving the racers, like we're serving the racers, and that's obviously you're trying to serve everyone. But I do think that when I look at, you know, the history of our sport and the various highs and low moments and whatnot, and some of the evolution that's happened, but I mean, it's hard to argue that a drag race doesn't look much different in 2026 than it did in 1986, you know, especially in terms of like schedule, layout, etc. And I look around the world and I see evolution. I see efforts made to improve the experience for the fans. And I think sometimes like we're just hesitant to do that at times. Like I see these racers that do these little bitty short baby burnouts. And I'm like, don't ask me why you don't sell t-shirts, big dog. You know, you know, it's don't ask me why you don't have a following on social media, because that's the shit. And I think that there is this, it's a balancing act, right? I understand that people want to win. They want to be competitive. They want to be consistent, all those things. But if we're ever wondering, like look around, some of the guys that have the biggest followings and maybe have the strongest merch sales or have the most sponsors or whatever, they're typically showmen of some sort, right? They're putting a show on, they're adding an additional layer to what they do, whether it's YouTube videos, whether it's, you know, interaction at the track, whether it's trash talking on social media, whatever. Maybe it's how they run their car. I think about Brandon Sandlin and the Junkyard Studebaker. I mean, doing those monster burnouts and his crew guys up there beating the injector hat to death. And I mean, all of those things I think are as much a part of the show as,
because we get fired up. And if you can't translate that and get everyone else fired up, like what are you really doing? Like you're not putting on a show. In the end, so many people forget that we are here to put on a show.
yes,
Right? Because nobody wants to race with nobody in the stands, right? And just the simplest thing from showing times and posting time slips, even just reaction times. Like there are guys and girls that they race, and when they come up to the starting line, I get excited because I'm like, yeah, that car might not be as fast, but they're going to win because they're going to tree that dude.
yeah,
You know, they're killer on the tree. You don't know with the clock's off. You have no idea. You don't know what's going to happen. It's just a guess. It's an educated guess covered with a whole bunch of BS and banter and shit talk. But I don't know. I think it means a lot more when I can say, hey, you know what? Not only am I going to whoop your ass, I'm going to beat you on the tree too. Bet 500 on it, and the whole world can see it. You know what I mean? That's cool to me.
Same here, man. Same here. I that's what I want to see, and that's what these type of races produce. So I'm excited about the boards being on, man. I think after the news broke that Ryan Martin went 394, I really don't know that there was any going back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I saw that run by like mistake. I had just pulled up to BMP, and he pulled up there to make a run, and that was insane. And even me, I had an idea of how fast these cars were, but when he lit the board and he ran that 394, I was like, my jaw was on the floor. Jamie Miller tunes the car, and he looked at me, and I looked at him. We were like, what the hell just happened? So, but
well, there's a lot of guys in that range too. I was up in the tower when they were running most of the time at Snowbirds, and there's a lot of guys that can tickle that number and are going to be there with him too. But
the other part of that though is 405. Let's just say, right? Like, and I've had people show me sometimes like 405, 408, 410, whatever. The difference between a 408 and a 394 is like a car and a half
It's
that
pretty
dude's going to
big.
put on you. Yeah. Like it's huge. So that, I don't know. I'm excited. I might be more excited if I get the chance to hop out of my car and watch those guys run than anything else. That's going to be awesome.
It's going to be lit, man. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
We were hoping that 3 was happening like Q1
Yeah.
of US Street. That was part of the idea.
Ryan couldn't risk somebody else doing it before him, I guess. Hats off to him, man.
I think he did it, but he did it the same day we announced the clocks were going to be on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I think he did it before.
It was the same hour. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we literally were waiting, like we were holding our breath. Going, okay, we know these guys are testing. Please, God, don't let a time slip leak out. Please, somebody don't do it. And Ryan actually texted me and apologized. You know, like, I'm real sorry, man. And I'm like, no, dude, you should be stoked. Like, I'm happy for you. We were just hoping that it was going to happen during qualifying or eliminations at the US Street Nationals. But hey, we'll take it. And I venture to say we'll see it again. That's for me, I think that's going to be one of the fun storylines to watch. I know there's plenty of guys, as Mike was saying, that are capable of running that number or have been very close to it. And there's some guys that haven't ran that number that I still think are a threat. You know what I mean? Like with the tip draw, with all the varying conditions, radio prep, scraping it, going to when they run, there are so many variables that that's what makes this shit fun, is that it's anybody's.
Well, and I think too, that what people don't realize is there's probably a couple guys that never thought they could run that time. And now they're like, okay, it is doable. Like, and they're going to go work on their shit and try to run that number. And it may actually, it more than likely will make them better. And I think that's something that's missing from No Time as well. Cause I see it all the time. You got a No Time guy who, you know, has an extremely capable car and he runs well and he wins a lot. But until he gets beat, he doesn't even know or show his full potential, right? And then they get beat, and then the next race you're like, whoa, what did those guys do? And it's like they saw that there's a chance and there's a possibility they can go faster than they're even going.
Well, I know so many racers and
progression is there for sure.
Yeah, like they operate in this known commodity, right? Like we know, whatever it's wheel speed, drive shaft, like these are the thresholds that we know that we kind of operate within. And we've seen it throughout the course of drag racing history. I think one of the biggest examples was Billy Glidden at the height of ADRL Extreme 10.5. The class had been kind of mired in like the 430s, 420s, which is funny to say because this really hasn't been that long ago. This is like late 2000s, right? That 33 10.5W cars were running 430s routinely. You could qualify for any of those ADRL Extreme 10.5 races, running 428 to 438, right? Here comes Billy Glidden with this super lightweight small block car, nitrous, 5-speed clutch, and he goes like 411. And it, to your point, Vic, it just reframed what was possible. And all these guys, I didn't see people buying new motors. I didn't see people making wholesale changes to their program, but we saw the entire field immediately pick up once they saw what was possible, right? And I think it pushed them to operate outside of their comfort zone. So I venture to say that's exactly what we're going to see from this true 10.5 category. I mean, it's
and a lot of these guys only go as fast as they feel they need to go. A lot of people race that way.
Yeah.
A lot of people race just within where they feel they need to be. They stay within those parameters. Like, hey guys, if we go 360 every run, we could win. Then somebody comes and goes 356 with an 8, and you're like, oh shit! All right, we got to pick it up. And that is literally what makes drag racing as cool as it is the fact that at any moment it can all change. Like literally, your whole game plan can change, your strategy, your whole day can be flipped upside down, and you have to just get after it, and that's what makes it awesome.
It's crazy to me that this kind of stuff used to happen only at either in qualifying or eliminations at a sanctioned event. We're just talking about like Ryan Martin's testing run. He just rips that off in testing. We saw Jimmy Taylor's stuff. We hear, you hear Donald Long talking all about the testing records. Yeah. Manny Vajinga did this recently. But now, because track prep is so good, technology is so good, these guys go anywhere and are capable of running these numbers any day of the week, right? And you used to think about Scruggs, right? And his run at Rockingham, first one over 200, all these things that were these big deals that had to happen. You had to wait And it had to happen when you were going to get back to a prepped track that was prepped like your last event. And if you went testing in between, you probably, I mean, you might like, you know, scuff in a set of tires or you know, confirm your, you know, MSD box that works or whatever, but you're not going and setting these records. And now it just happens all the time. So to me, that's one of the crazy things that it continues to push this evolution, like you're talking about, Vic, because it doesn't wait for these events to happen. It's happening like every week on a Wednesday. And you're starting to see these numbers just continually escalate. So that to me is one thing I think we've seen in the last 10, I guess 20 years now really take off is these guys just continually improving these numbers every day of the week.
Yeah. And I mean, how many people had no idea that you could go that fast on a true 10.5 tire, a little tiny 28 10.5? That's awesome, dude. That's insane. So like, I feel like if I was at home and I was like not in tune with it all and I just heard that, I'd be like, I gotta go see this. Like, I got to go see this for myself. So this is, I think long term, this is going to be huge for True 10.5. And I think that class is, man, it's every so bit of as much entertainment as Pro Mod. It's like right there with it.
Dude, what I think is cool about it, and you guys know I frame a lot of this stuff like through the lens of combat sports, but I feel it is heavyweight and light heavyweight. I think that they are a match made in heaven. I think it's a classic main event, co-main event situation. They pair well together. They look decidedly different. Small tires, no wheelie bars, stock wheelbase. You know, it's just, they're a perfect pairing. And I really feel that this will be the kind of centerpiece of what we do as we move forward is, you know, more opportunities to pair these classes together. And they also speak to a somewhat different audience, but just, you know, kind of closing the conversation on the clocks on, clocks off thing. I'm excited to be able to see. I mean, I remember when I put on my first race in 2005, that the fastest true 10.5 cars in the country were running 5.0s and 4.90s. You know what I mean? And they've picked up over a second in 20 years. And it's really, really impressive. And I think there's quite a bit of meat left on the bone. I really do. And especially as you see these guys that are super high level racers, you know, the Scott Taylors, the Manny Bajingas, you know, digging their teeth into this. It's going to be a hot spot from here on out, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And then, you know, one of the things I saw, people were kind of making it seem or sound like 394 is all that there is to offer. I would guarantee almost that 394 slip is going to make someone not stop until they go 389 or whatever it is. So like, we don't even know where the end is. I'm sure that that's close to it because I mean, how fast can you really go on that tire? But I'm telling you, the fact that we're looking at these numbers and that we're seeing it and we're making it a big deal is going to make those numbers drop more and more and more.
I agree. And that's, again, we go back to like what we've spent 100 years training our fans to expect. That's it. I mean, I remember, you know, Vic, I don't know if I've ever even told you this. We ran the original World Series of Pro Mod with the boards off the entire race until the final. So like we literally ran no scoreboards through 4 rounds of qualifying, 4 rounds of eliminations or 3 rounds of eliminations. And then in the finals, we lit the boards. And I remember so much pushback, especially when you got like Bandimere Speedway probably has some of the most hardcore drag racing fans in the country. That place is like a frequent, I mean, people go there religiously or historically went there religiously. So we bring in this big Pro Mod race and they're not getting to see 5-second, 250 mile an hour, you know, times on the boards. I thought there was going to be a mutiny in the grandstands. So I think there is a balance. Like I love the way we do it during testing because it just alleviates a lot of stuff during the week. Primarily rule controversy, but more so than anything else, it creates an air of secrecy and it builds some anticipation.
That was what I was going to say. I think it's awesome the way that we do it now because it also makes everyone run as hard as they can run because you don't know. Like, did this guy go 357? I don't know. It looked really good. Did this guy go 358? So you can't go 360 and just hope that that's enough on Friday or Saturday. Like you can't do that. You have to leave it all out there and run as hard as you can possibly run. You have to know that when the boards are lit, you are going as fast as you can possibly go with that combination. That makes for better racing. So So I think that the way that we do it is perfect. And it's funny because when we first started doing it, a bunch of people would complain, but I would walk around the pits and talk to people and like, like someone like Stevie Fast or Mickey or something, just to like fuck with everyone. But what'd you run? Oh, I went 353. Just to like fire people up. And then, did you hear that turbo car went? And then
all night long, every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of these races, it is nonstop text. I heard Jimmy Taylor 349.
Yeah.
I heard Stevie Jackson went 352.
But it makes a couple of guys pick up a number or two that they may not have if they didn't have that fire lit under their ass. So like I think that the way that we do it, and I'm not saying it because it's us, I actually was against it when you first wanted to do it. I think it's perfect. I think it's the perfect way to do it. And I'm hoping to go 351 in testing and tell everyone.
Exactly. I mean,
it's the way to do it, man. It totally changes things. See, I can't imagine, because you've got all these days of testing, then you got 2 days of qualifying. Like if you already knew what everybody was running all week, it really takes the wind out of the sails for Q1. I love Q1. It's like, everyone talks, everyone has been saying what they're running,
knows,
but nobody really
Q1
knows. And now we're about to find out, and the show's getting ready again. I mean, that to me is the way to do it.
I'm fired up already.
I love it because I love that the fans are there and that, NC Pro Modders streaming it and people are getting to see it, but it's just creating that buzz and it creates some energy. And every time I'm there during testing, I feel like I'm in a parking lot. Like, it feels like a late night parking lot scenario where everybody's bullshitting each other. Everybody's lying to each other. Everybody's running up and grabbing their time slip. It's just, it's a great environment. And I love being a part of it, man. It's pretty exciting.
And this is all next week, which is crazy because it doesn't even feel like it's next. Like we just got done with the Snowbirds.
It got here pretty quick, man.
It did.
I kept telling myself, oh yeah, Snowbirds is beginning of December, US Street's end of January. We got a ton.
Yeah, but you lose like 3 weeks.
It comes up quick. Yeah,
because then it's Snowbirds, PRI, then it's pretty much Christmas, then it's New Year's, and like you don't realize how quick US Street. It's like right after the Snowbirds, literally.
Yeah,
I haven't even turned my car on. So it's
I don't think Jason Harris has either, so don't feel bad.
It's a little different, Wes. A little different.
I'm excited. So,
somebody just asked Vic, "Is your Pro Mod switched over to Hart's charger and running?" Well, yes, it has been switched. Running, no.
So yeah, my boy Jamie Miller, man, he was at BMP testing for like a week straight. So he's at Disney this week with his family. The plan is to fire it up tomorrow and Saturday. We have a test session, sneak in there and do some hits on Saturday just to kind of get a little bit of a jump start. I'm confident. I'm extremely confident, which is probably bad. I'm probably overly confident, but I'm confident that, we have all of the right equipment. And Jamie has such a good handle on the Hartz charger deal or centrifugal charger deal. I have everything that Jamie asked for. I've got a good crew. I'm hoping that we can make quick work of it. And man, I think that this might be. I would not be surprised if the number 32 car went like 359 with a 9. I think that if we get the air that we're supposed to get, this will be the fast.
I thought I looked at the forecast. There's
some evening time air that'll be really, really good. I think
as long as it's not 40 degrees like it was at US Street last year, we're good.
Well, actually, so yeah, we have a cold front coming in
with tents blowing into electric lines. And what else do we have?
We have a cold front. We had rain. We had the tents. And just
we had a
semi
took out a power line. A truck trailer took out a power line.
Dude. Last year, US Street was ridiculous. But either way, we have a couple of cold fronts coming, and I don't think it'll be like crazy, but it'll be really good air. And I don't think it's going to take much because I think that just even if the conditions were the same as Snowbirds, I think everybody would step it up a little bit naturally. So I think you mix that in with a little bit better air. I would not be surprised if the number 32 car goes 359 with a 9. So everyone's like, oh, if you go 359, you're good. I'm like, dude, I want to go whatever. Like, I want to get out of my car and be like, okay, my car cannot physically go quicker than it just did. And until then, I won't be happy. So we'll see.
Now it's going to be a barn burner, man. We got the baddest pro mod racers on the planet, the baddest small tire racers on the planet, a host of other awesome dudes. Lil Gangsters is hot like fire. Can't wait to see round 2 of that. We have Melling Performance step up and help us put together a championship points fund for those guys. So we got a lot on the line for our.
Yeah, let's talk. Speaking of which, let's talk about the Elite Motorsports Million that we've got coming up. That's still in play as of now. We've got the Jerry Bickel Clean Sweep Challenge still in play as of now, and then we've got the Off the Trailer bonus from Proline Racing that's always in play. So that's
I want something.
We got a lot of good
one of these things.
We got a lot of I love these companies stepping up for these specialty programs, like sponsoring the race, sponsoring the racers, doing parts, doing contingency is awesome. But when you attaching your brand to a specific milestone or whatever at these events is just one of the cool, fun things that we do.
Well, and seeing that excitement in these companies really, like, for us is very gratifying and rewarding, because for a company to be so excited about what we're doing, to be like, hey, we wanted to give a bonus, let's come up with something, like, let's do something nobody's doing, like, what can we do? And for when someone like Eric Dillard from Proline calls us and is like on the phone with us, and we're going back and forth like, oh cool, I got it, let's do Off the Trailer, let's see, because very rarely does the person that goes the quickest, goes number 1 in the first round remain number 1. So I'm like, that's brilliant. And then this way, when we came up with it, we were like, and then this way, Mark Mickey won't take all the number 1 qualifier checks. Maybe.
Maybe. Well,
So, maybe.
It was a real pinch me moment for me when my phone rang and Rick Horde from Jerry Bickel Race Cars called me, and we're talking and we're going back and forth. And his exact, like, I want to do something big for these guys. I want to, I want to be, and I just the fact that we have relationships like this in this space, and there's that much enthusiasm around what's happening, like, to have him, not me begging, borrow, like, hey man, will you please give away a race car? Will you please? Not at all. I mean, it was like, hey, I want to give, if someone qualifies number 1 at all 3 of them, I want to give them a brand new Pro Mod. And I'm like, I didn't have to say that.
So excited. He was at the last race. He was on the starting line before, like, when we were like about to call Pro Mod, Rick Horde was up there. Like, to see that level of excitement amongst these manufacturers and vendors and tuners and engine builders and just all of that is like, that's just awesome. We're headed down the right path. But yeah, so we got Off the Trailer bonus, which what is that for this
$5,000, man.
$5,000. So
$5,000. Off
the Trailer bonus, number 1 qualifying bonus check is $7,500.
Yep.
$7,500. And if Jason Harris does it, he's one more number 1 qualifying position away from a free Pro Mod, which has never even been
mandated not to be a 69 Camaro.
Yeah, is that a mandate?
Yeah, we did. We added that to it. We got to run it by Rick Horde, but he'll be good with it.
Dude, why, man? They're awesome.
They are. I mean, that's what
Jason has already said he's going to do. Jason has said he's going to do a 70. What did he say? A 68 Firebird. Yeah.
I personally think the best looking Pro Mod of all time is a 69 Camaro. Like, I mean, I remember
that's a guy with class, right?
Yeah,
there. You know that?
But I take that back. I actually think
they do look good. They're great looking cars. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on the 69 Camaro, but we do want some more variety.
Yeah, it's I'm excited. We're gonna have a 63 Corvette down there. We're gonna have obviously Mike Bowman and his Chevelle.
I like the Ford bodies. The newer ones, they're really, really slick. And honestly, Nate Saylor's car is gorgeous.
Yes, it is gorgeous.
And I love the variety. Don't get me wrong. That 69 Camaro, man. That's like, it's what when you say Pro Mod, people think 69 Camaro.
It goes in cycles, man. It goes in cycles, dude. It wasn't like that when you were a young child. It wasn't that way. It was everything else you could think of but a 69
Lamborghini, Willis. Yeah, I mean
a van.
Cool.
There was a freaking van, dude. At one point, but actually, I learned something the other day.
Too. The new C7s are hot.
Yeah. Talking about the C7. Did you know I was watching Boost and Bullshit, or JT's got a lot of names for this podcast, but I was watching Jason and Steve King, and they had guys, I want to call him Scooter Daddy, but
Tim Hodgins.
Tim Hodgins. Yeah, it escaped me for a minute. Tim Hodgins from Synergy Composites.
Scooter Daddy.
Scooter
We'll tell
Daddy.
you about that. We'll tell you about that. We'll tell you about that.
I know. You told me about it. We're not. Yeah.
We'll tell you about that off air. But anyway, he was on there and talking about the new C7 body, and that they found that not just the body for the 69 Camaro, but the chassis itself and like the greenhouse of it, from the windshield to the four-link brackets and that whole box there, torsional twist or whatever you want to say, torque, that shape is the most rigid and is like the best they found for Pro Mod. So even from a non-aerodynamic standpoint, but just from a chassis standpoint, it's actually the best performing chassis in addition to being the most popular body. So when he created this new C7, he moved and manipulated the body so that same chassis, that same box could fit under that C7 body, because they found that chassis configuration performs the best, which I had no idea that was even something that they had even figured out, or that this was data that people had. But supposedly that's something they've come up with, another like feather in the cap for the 69 Camaro, that it actually handles the torque and chassis tuning and everything the best. So that's another thing that we talk about, technology and data and all this stuff that they continue to figure out. So really cool nugget that I got off the Boost and Bullshit show.
It's crazy.
I'm still recovering from the Scooter Daddy thing, but I heard you.
One of the all-time great stories. It's forever a part of Tim Hodgins' lore. But no, dude, I think Mike's right. Like, these things are cyclical. We see everybody going to a late model Camaro or a 69 Camaro, and who knows what's next, right? I mean, I'm sure there's
C7 and the new Mustang. They're coming out. There's a bit
strong.
of them now. Yeah, they're coming out strong. And I mean, the C7 is beautiful. When I was building my car, they were starting to work on that body, or it was almost done, and I even contemplated doing it, but it would have pushed me back a little bit, so I didn't. But
and I was talking to Larry Jeffers at Larry Jeffers Race Cars yesterday, or when was it? Earlier in the week, and he had mentioned to me that he's been really thinking a lot about like what would be what should come next. But he was talking about the significant investment that goes with like, hey, hoping people like it, hoping it hits. You know what I mean? And because I mean, you're talking 100,000 plus to create one of these molds, and it's like it could fall flat. Like I'm still surprised that we didn't see really any of those Shonic composites.
The Fox body, yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah,
that would have been really cool.
What do you make of it? We need to see a legit Supra.
Dude, you just took the words out of my mouth. I didn't want to say it because somebody will now call me and be like, let's do it. And I'm the idiot that will spend the money to do it.
That's another thing they talked about in that show. That C7 body was originally built as a Supra for a super body for the Sheikh of Bahrain. And then he modified it because Toyota wouldn't let him go all the way with producing a Supra branded body. They like literally cease and desist, made him quit. And so then they started reconfiguring it.
That's because they were trying to do that. That's because they were trying to do the new Supra.
Right. Do the old it's a new Supra. Okay, so you're talking it's got to be a 90s Supra? Okay.
Like a 90, it wasn't a 90s. 96.
93 to 98.
Like that one you were going to buy for $250,000 at Mecum?
Almost. I was on the floor. I was trying my hardest. And then I think that part of the reason I didn't win that car is because when it crossed 200, I was like in shock and my jaw was on the floor, and then the auction was just over. And I was like, oh shit, what happened?
Yeah, you talk about a Pro Mod being expensive, and then all of a sudden a 90s Supra is going for the same amount, man.
You know how dope to see a twin turbo like 90, like late 90s Supra roll through the water box that was like
I can think of two people that would buy the body if somebody makes it. Me and the White Rice guys would do it off the rip. So if somebody's watching, we're ready.
Oh, dude.
They've got a 69 Camaro. They're stuck in 69 Camaro land right now. So we got to get them out. We got to get them in a Supra.
Get them in a Supra.
I love it.
Before we let you go, Vic, I'm just curious, like kind of switching gears here. Like, what do you make of like the street car market? I mean, we see all these streetcar events doing really well. Streetcar Takeover announced a 16-car tour, a 16-stop tour in 26. It seems like you are, cranking out Supras as fast as you can. The value on these cars is like really incredible. I mean, streetcar culture seems hotter than ever.
Yeah. I would say that honestly, man, just all around the aftermarket automotive and like drag racing world are strong. Which I didn't think it would actually be this way around this time. Like there's just so much stuff going on and so much uncertainty of this, and it was an election year and that and whatever, but it seems really strong. We had our biggest FL2K to date, our first sellout FL2K, in October. I'm sure TX2K will be the same way. So I mean, I think that gearheads are just on top of the world right now.
I think so too, man. I feel like car culture is more a part of like the mainstream conversation than at any point since like Fast and the Furious.
Well, we did what you and I have always talked about, and something that you say often. We made it, not just us, but everybody in this, deal made it cool to be a car guy again, made it cool to be a gearhead again. Like it's cool, and I think I attribute that to the Cletus McFarlanes and the Boosted Boys and the Jimmy Dales and it is Justin Swanstrom. Like it's so cool to just be a gearhead and be a car guy. And I think we're shining light on that now, and people are seeing that we're normal people, just like, whoever that, works wherever they work, right? You don't have to work in the automotive industry. We're regular guys. We just have a passion for motorsports and fast cars, whether they're street cars, pro mods, true 10.5 cars, little gangster cars, etc. But it's cool. It is honestly maybe the coolest thing you could be as a car guy, in my opinion. And
dude,
that's what's working out.
I agree. I've begged for it, and I talked about Street Outlaws. I think Street Outlaws had a ton to do making it. They
killed it. Yeah.
Making it fashionable to be a car guy. I mean, I remember leaving the movie theater when I saw Fast and the Furious, and everybody's squealing tires, pulling out of the parking lot and whipping around and doing burnouts. And it was like, oh, there's some energy in this scene all of a sudden, and there's some new interest in what's happening. And then we saw it kind of fizzle, and then Street Outlaws comes on the scene, and all of a sudden you see more and more of the Midwest streetcar shirts or the Big Chief shirts, or what is it, Midwest Performance whatever shirts. You see 187 Customs shirts, and then it's
like everybody's wearing the shirts now. Like,
I mean, I was at our local restaurant last week, saw a Cletus shirt, you know what I mean?
Dude,
and I'm like,
we went to Meekum, and I saw so many. Like, I saw Drag Illustrated shirts. I saw Freedom Factory shirts, Cletus shirts. I saw FL2K shirts. Like, it's cool. It is like nobody's hiding behind anything anymore. Like, it is legitimately the coolest thing that you can be right now as a car dude or a gearhead. And even like, we've made it so cool that it's cool for our fans who may not even race, may not even really get to watch much racing. They just watch on YouTube or whatever. It's even cool for them to walk around in a Swan Gang shirt or a Victor Alvarez shirt or, whatever it is. And that's awesome, man.
It really is, man. I mean, and I think that, I've lived in the DFW area for 5 years, and it was huge news, like amongst racers, when TX2K came to the Texas Motorplex. But it's like, what's been really crazy in the last year is like being out and about amongst, normal folks, and have people saying like, oh, we're going to TX2K this weekend. Oh, everybody I know is going to TX2K this weekend. To me, that, like you said, things are headed in the right direction, and maintaining this momentum and keeping the fire burning will be the challenge. But it's definitely there for the taking. I say it a lot, but I still feel like we're walking around on fertile soil when it comes to drag racing, because I see, like how far NASCAR has come, what F1 represents in this day and age. And I know that there's more there for drag racing, because our sport's so much more accessible to people. Like, you're not going to get into an F1 car. Like, a million,
but anybody can go buy a Camaro or a Mustang, or it doesn't even have to be that, and go to a test and tune at their local drag strip
and be guilty by association, be a car guy.
And anybody can start a YouTube or make a YouTube video doing it, or, do it on social media, and it may catch on. Cause like, I have people all the time ask me like, man, I love what I do. I love racing. I love this. I love that. But how do I get it going? I'm like, man, just enjoy doing it, be genuine, keep on doing it, and one day something may catch on. You may post something, a reel of something stupid or whatever the case, and it may get some traction, and your dream may come true. But the fact that that's a dream of people, a dream that people have, to like be one of the guys that, you know, posts on social media or posts on YouTube and gets to drag race with his buddies or build cars with his buddies, that's awesome.
It's pretty amazing, man. It's pretty amazing. Well, dude, I want to give a quick shout out to our show sponsors. I didn't get all these script reads done. Huge shout out to Mark Beatty and the whole gang, Art and everybody at Redline Synthetic Oils. They've been a longtime supporter of ours here at Drag Illustrated, the official oil of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series, and of course the official oil of us three goofballs here on the Wes Buck Show. Check out Redline's full lineup at redlineoil.com. They also have a presence at each one of our Winter Series events down at Bradenton Motorsports Park. And our newest sponsor, Strange Engineering, huge shout out to those guys. For more than 50 years, Strange Engineering has been a household name among racers and crew chiefs, supplying hardcore racing and performance street driveline and suspension components that flat out get the job done. Don't just race Strange. You can check all their stuff out at strangeengineering.net. Guys, we're T-minus 8 days from the U.S. Street Nationals presented by M&M Transmission. Can't wait to get down to the house that Vic Alvarez built, Bradenton Motorsports Park, and kick the tires and light the fires, boy.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Let's do it.
It's going to be awesome. I can't believe it's next week, but can't wait to see everyone there at BMP. And man, this is just a halfway point. We get to do this again. World Series of Pro Mod is going to be just like US Street in the sense that it's literally like we feel like there's some time in between, but it's coming up.
Oh, it's quick. The time between US Street and World Series is quick, man. So yeah, well, it's time. We're on until basically March now. So this is the time, man.
World Series of Pro Mod is going to be lit. I mean, I think
I'm not quite there yet. Like mentally, I'm not ready to be there yet, but you're 100% right. It's going to be off the chain. I think that'll be a sellout event.
I really think it will. I mean, I think we're going to see something that it defies what we probably thought was possible, is my anticipation for that event. So anyways, if you aren't able to make it, you can grab tickets on the FOAT, racebmp.com or thewinterseries.com. You can also sign up for Flow Racing, the official live stream provider of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series, and check it out online and be hey, going back to being part of the cool kids group, you got to follow Pro Mod if you're part of the conversation in 2020. So appreciate you guys, and we'll see you all next Wednesday right here on the Drag Illustrated YouTube channel, and we'll see you in Bradenton. Thanks, boys.